simmering and the special saucing make all the difference. And as you know, Mexico is rich in oil. After eating hot and spicy dishes, Carol and I stopped at a nearby pulqueria.
I'm thirsty. How about something to drink?
Well, how about something pre-Columbian?
Okay. Oh, my
Here we
goodness. What is this?
This is corundas. That's the meal. That's the local Michoacan specialty. And this is a pulque. I know you've heard about it.
Yeah, but what exactly is it?
It's made from the maguey cactus. And they just drain the sap and they ferment it.
Okay,
so it's kind of like a beer, like a wine. You know, really, this is...
Not much to look at, like soapy water. Pulque was the only alcoholic beverage in pre-Hispanic days and was said to have been the drink of the gods. It has a tangy flavor, much better than tuba, and even better when made with fruit juices. Mexico is a land of mountains, broken by valleys, and it's the valleys that mainly feed the country. At lower elevations, there are usually crops of some kind growing, even in the hot, dry season, unlike neighboring Guerrero. Like so much else, many farming methods remain traditional in rural Mexico. Threshing oats with horses is but one of them. What makes Michoacan different from other states is its famous lakes, each with a unique ecology. Lake Pátzcuaro is the state's most famous body of water. In the 14th century, people called Purépecha established a kingdom, with its capital on the lakeshore at Tzintzuntzan, meaning the place of the hummingbirds. The massive palace temple complex has a unique architecture. Buildings look more like those of ancient Peru than Mexico. The ancient Purépecha are one of the mystery people of Mexico. We know something about their late kingdom from an early Spanish account, but little about their early history, even from archaeology.
The Purépechas had a major warrior state, one of the few that resisted the Aztec Empire to the north. War captives are a major part of pre-Columbian warfare, and in this ritual center, this site, they kept their war captives, well, rather the heads of their war captives, which were stored here and later burnt to their chief god.
The Spanish conquerors were disgusted by Purépechan rituals and immediately abolished them, along with the kingdom as well, at the cost of much native people's blood. But the platform on which the ancient civilizations were really set remained, always the underpinning of life in Mexico: corn, a woman and her grinding stone, the metate, and the baking pan, the comal, for the ever-present tortilla. The Spanish called the Purépecha Tarascans, the name by which they're usually known. The old kingdom may be gone, but the people still live here, along with other indigenous groups, often in traditional ways. At Lake Pátzcuaro, tradition means fishing, for in the native language, Michoacan means place of the master fisherman. In the early morning quiet, fishermen silently hunt their prey in the time-honored way, in dugout canoes using butterfly nets. Nowadays, butterfly net fishing is a rare occurrence. Lake Pátzcuaro's fish stocks were so depleted that fishing is now heavily restricted. A rigorous conservation program protects the lake's ecosystem, and a major fish rearing program is in place. The lake's yield is pescado blanco, whitefish, It's a species peculiar to the lakes of this region, and delicious when cooked in the local style. The fishermen maneuver their boats among channels where the whitefish breed. The spits of land are not land at all, but chinampas, artificial fields that float on the water. A pre-Columbian farming technique, chinampas are made from bottom mud, reeds, grass, all kinds of organic material, including animals and human wastes. Chinampas are wonderfully fertile and provide food for everyone. Life along the lakeshore hasn't changed all that much in hundreds of years. We can imagine scenes similar to these in the days of the Purepecha kingdoms. Evening in the town of Pátzcuaro means a stroll into the night market and its array of food stands.
Your favorite dish?
Boy, does that look good. Very mouth-watering. Hey, and you know what this is?
I'm
This is
listening.
Plaza chicken. I've read about this. It's very popular in this region.
Yeah.
And they serve it with potatoes and carrots, and the chicken is very simple.
So it's a monster metal comal.
Yeah. Look at this thing.
Extra-large comals are features of street food cooking in this region. The middle parts of the large pan are hot for cooking, while the rims keep the already cooked foods warm, something like Chinese wok cooking.
Yeah, I think I had hotcakes for breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
Traditionally, such comals were made of copper, because Michoacan was once a major producer of that metal.
Okay? All right, let's go.
Like foodstuffs and cooking practices, much remains traditional in Michoacan. There's a movement in Mexico to preserve and learn from the old ways. Pátzcuaro has a center for traditional healing. Many seem to be mixtures of pre-Columbian practices and Christian rituals. Senora Agapita is a healer who's practiced for 50 years. The art and science of herbal medicines has passed down many generations through the women in her family. This procedure was meant to protect me against all harm or illness. Agapita uses an egg to take away evil spirits. And before that, I got a good scrubbing with fresh tarragon leaves, something like basting a chicken before cooking. A special infusion of 7 herbs and flowers completed the process. It smelled wonderful, and the effect was, well, restorative.
Dios nuestro Señor Jesucristo, Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, santificado sea tu nombre, venga tu reino. Así, díselo así.
Okay.
Detállalo.
Completely cleansed, we could now continue the culinary journey. And protected, I could happily eat and drink everything in sight, without even a second thought.
Todo, todo. Ahora sí, ya.
Muchas gracias, señora.
Folk medicine derives from ancient village customs. In Taracuato, high in the Michoacan hill country, a Purepecha family keeps the old ways. The family's women practice the craft of embroidery. Their work is well known in the state and can be found in artisanal shops in major cities. Their designs reflect the natural world around the village. The Castro family is an extended one. Parents, grandparents, nieces, and nephews living in the same compound and all working together. The women dress in traditional costumes every day. Petticoats and heavily pleated skirts, embroidered blouses, and especially belts are featured. The belt is key to status. The higher the level of respect, the longer and more decorative is the belt. Marcelina is the matron of the Castro family. An imposing woman, she has a classic Purepecha look. The women put on a festive meal for the holidays, complete with local musicians. When the family cooks, it's like a military operation. Everything is done in its right order, from grinding corn to making the classic Michoacan dish, corundas. Corundas are thick, unfilled tamales, often flavored with wood ash. They're wrapped in corn leaves and then steamed. Another kind of corunda is like a bread, raised not by yeast, but with beer-like pulque. Wrapped in corn husks, they're also steamed and used as bread to be eaten with stews. The family's pots are neatly piled up, ready for use. Each pot is used for only one kind of dish, so that flavors never mix. And each pot has its very own stirring spoon. Both in its seasonings, at once subtle and distinctive in flavors, and in its techniques, village cooking is more sophisticated than one might think. Taracuato and the cookery done here are among the hidden treasures of Mexico. Culinary arts, plastic and graphic arts mirror one another in this country. By custom, Mexican women keep the secrets of the culinary arts. Men have their own artistic recipes. Juan Horta is one of Michoacan's most celebrated mask makers. He's a full-time artist who uses a sophisticated toolkit, many of his own design. In an afternoon, he'll turn a plain block of wood into a brilliant piece of art. Horta's creations are designed for traditional folk dances held in towns and villages all over the country. His creations are major pieces of art, combining native folklore and Spanish Christian themes. It's a phantasmagorical art, colorful, at once of and not of this world. Since the later 1500s, a number of villages in Michoacan have specialized in one craft or another. In Santa Clara del Cobre, it's copper. Among the village's many coppersmiths, the Punzo family is especially renowned. It's a family affair. Brothers, uncles, sons, and nephews all working together. Like many craft traditions, skills are passed down the generations, from fathers to sons. In this way, valuable traditions are preserved. crafts of Michoacan are cottage industries. It's a land of villages and small towns. Most of the state's economy, as in much of Mexico, revolves around agriculture. Michoacan has been likened to Switzerland, not for its skiing, but for its cows, Wisconsin-style Holsteins.
The European conquest of Mexico wasn't just a biological act, it was political. The cattle you see here and the fodder they're feeding on are European imports. Europeans changed the whole landscape of Mexico and their foodstuffs. But, underneath it all, still lies a tortilla.
Here is where tortillas come from the earth. In expectation of the rains which will come in a month or two, Michoacan's farmers plant their fields with corn. Corn has always been Mexico's staff of life. One of corn's greatest virtues is that it holds up well in dry climates. That's why it was first domesticated in dry upland parts of Mexico some 7,000 years ago. Pre-Columbian peoples had no plows, much less domesticated draft animals. Farming in ancient times was much more like gardening, using digging sticks. These plowing methods, primitive though they might seem, are more modern. They're traditional Old World ways brought by the Spanish in the 16th century and hardly changed since then. Now, who says you can't drink the water in Mexico? In the town of Uruapan, you can, from the Cupatitio River. In the Purepechen language, the name Cupatitio means the river that sings through its falls. The water is said to be the purest in all Mexico, but we didn't exactly test the claim. Michoacan has hugely diverse ecological zones, something like California. The river feeds a lush agricultural region around Uruapan, and Uruapan means forever springtime. The region is literally a garden, producing some 80 kinds of fruit crops. Avocados are especially famous here, and with constant experimentation going on, there are even macadamia and lychee nut industries. The beauty of Mexican folk art is its intimate connection to environments in which the artists live. Uruapan's famous lacquerware is a prime example. 79-year-old Lucina Tules is its most celebrated practitioner. She's been painting since the age of 12, in the traditional style. All the pigments used are natural materials, mixed with animal fats. Almost exactly the same technology used in the old Stone Age cave paintings of Europe. Many artisans sell their wares in Uruapan's busy market. Most of the items sold here are for everyday use, cooking mainly, but some are decorative. There's nothing quite like shopping in outdoor markets for immediate impressions of a country and its people. Of course, eating in markets can give another kind of impression. Uruapan has the wonderful Mercado de Antojitos, the market of little whims or snacks. It has the now familiar mixture of indigenous and Spanish foods. Here we found atole, a pre-Columbian drink well loved in Mexico. It's really a form of liquid cornstarch, flavored of course, thick and hearty, and definitely an acquired taste. The market in Uruapan is a snapshot of what we'd seen and tasted in Mexico. Colors, flavors, textures in immense varieties, and the peoples of Michoacan and Guerrero, the flavors and textures of their cultures.